So basically, since moving into this home that we remodeled, I have really wanted to do some type of a feature wall in Carrie's room, mainly because there's just a lot of very plain walls, and I don't really like to fill her room up with tons of stuff. And so instead, I thought I would finally try to tackle doing a feature wall in her room. And so today I wanted to take you along and show you what I've been working on and how far it's progressed. And I know I've mentioned this in probably the last one or two of my videos, so I'm really excited to finally have this video of the start to finish put together to share with you today. For the inspiration for Carrie's room and this feature wall, I saw this picture and I immediately was like, that is the look that I want to go for. And so I really have wanted to add some different dark accents into our house and into this room in particular as well. And so this was the perfect opportunity to do that. In case you're wondering how I do these projects with a toddler, she just goes around and makes messes the entire time. But I figure it's worth it because I've heard someone say once it's better to have them make a 5-minute mess that gives you 20 minutes to work on other things than to constantly be chasing them around all day, telling them they can't do anything. So that's my philosophy. Take it or leave it. The thing I was the most excited about when I started to look into how I'd like to redo this room was the fact that you can actually buy beadboard wallpaper that actually has real 3D grooves in it and hang it on your wall and save so much money, and it's so much easier, but it's also fairly durable. And so how I used this was I would cut it to the height that I wanted it, and then I would stick it actually in the bathtub. And it's super similar to wallpaper in the sense that you get it wet, and then this glue is moistened on the paper and actually causes it to stick to the wall. So overall, it was a fairly easy project, but it looks so beautiful and I loved how it turned out. So I would just lay it in the bathtub. From the reviews that I read, almost everyone said don't let it set in the water as long as they recommend on the instructions. And so as soon as it was completely wet, I would take it out of the bathtub, and then usually I would let it set for a couple of minutes on the floor, as you can see, and then I would put it up on the wall. And I found that if I could kind of get the bottom level against the trim baseboard on the wall, then I could work my way up, smoothing out all the bubbles, because you do get a lot of air bubbles when you first place this on the wall. And it turned out really well, and I really liked it. So if you're interested in using this yourself, a roll from Amazon cost me $24, and it is a total of, I think, 395 inches long, perhaps. I'm pretty sure that's the measurement. And then it's 20 inches wide. And so for this wall in Carrie's room, she did end up running across it at one point when I told her no, and tore a part of it. And I don't think I still would have had enough, so I did end up having to order another roll, which is why this room ended up taking me about a week to do. But that being said, it is the cheapest by far way to get the beadboard look if you're wanting to do something quick and something fairly cheap, because buying the actual boards is fairly expensive. So besides letting Carrie just run around and play, she's almost 2, and letting her make messes, I also try and include her in basically everything I'm doing. So if I'm cleaning, I try to include her in that, even if it's just giving her a little broom or letting her use a towel. If it's painting, I let her have a little roller that didn't have paint on it, and she could go on the walls that were dry and pretend to paint them. And so there are some certain things you can do that I think can help your kids enjoy the process of remodeling as much as maybe you do. I'm super thankful. My sister lives the next house over, and so she came over and helped me put up this piece of trim. And because I knew that I was going to put up the trim, I didn't end up cutting the wallpaper perfectly straight. I didn't really worry about it because I knew the trim would cover it. So next I just painted it bright white, and I do really like the contrast between these two walls. I think it's so fun. While I was doing this, I was kind of laughing to myself, thinking about a while ago we had this older couple over, and we were talking, and the husband started sharing about how his son married like this crazy woman. And he was like, yeah, she's totally crazy, she's mentally insane. And the example he gave of why she was insane was because every time he would go to their house, she had changed something. She had rearranged the furniture, or she had painted a wall, or she had done something differently. And I was just like looking at my husband like, you do not say a word. And so, yeah, apparently in some people's book, I'm mentally insane because of all the things that I want to change. And I'm just constantly trying to figure out, how do I create a room the way that I really, really love it? And what is my unique style? And I'm still really trying to discover that. So with all that being said, I painted this wall and got it all done. And with this particular wallpaper, I think it said to use like 2 coats. And so all I needed to use was 2 coats anyway, because the background was already white. And it really tied the wallpaper as well as the trim together really well, having it painted white. And it looks really fresh and clean. Okay, if you've been around here for a while, you know that I really like macrame stuff, and I have that plant hanger upstairs that is macrame. And so for Christmas, I actually received a couple more macrame plant hangers. And because I didn't end up doing that shelf, I really wanted to do the shelf that is shown in the picture. But my husband has an entire year's worth of projects that he has to do for our remodel. And I think he was slightly concerned if I built the shelf that it might like end up falling on Carrie's head in the middle of the night or something, which I don't blame him. So this gave the same look with a lot less work. And I like it just as well. So it's okay by me that we don't have the shelf. You guys probably saw I used a drill instead of a brad nailer to hang up the trim. And I know that's not ideal, so I ended up having to go back and caulk it. And I'll probably have to go back and caulk it again because the holes are so big. But I'm the type of person that when I get motivated to do something, I just want to do it. And I don't always do it in the best way or wait until the best timing. And so I got it done, and that's what counts. But there are some big holes I needed to cover. So this video took about a week to do, and the last day it was so fun because it was just tying up all the loose ends of hanging up these prints that I bought on Amazon. I'll link the prints and I'll link the plant hangers and I'll link the wallpaper all down below. If you do happen to buy them, I do make a tiny percentage of the sale, but it's like a couple of cents. And so I'll have those linked below. It costs you no extra money. The last thing that I wanted to do was paint the top of this dresser. It has driven me crazy ever since I did this dresser makeover because the top was actually not wood. It had like some weird type of metal on it. And so I went to sand off the paint so it would be a wood top, and it was like sanding off metal. It was super weird. And so I've needed to do that for some time. So I just decided to use the paint I already had and tie it in with the room. So you guys, this room is officially partway done. I guess we still have to do the closet doors, which have been on our list since moving in, but I'm sure those will get done eventually. And I just love the way this feature wall looks. I would recommend this wallpaper. It is slightly fragile. It did tear from me in a couple of spots, but it is very easy to hide. And I did go back, and some of the more obvious seams in between the wallpaper strips, I did caulk them, and with a couple layers of paint, it looks really, really legit. And I am very, very happy with it for the price, and I think it really adds a look to her room. And most of all, Carrie really likes it, which makes me so happy. So thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you hopefully next Saturday in my next video. Bye, you all.